Hello and welcome. In this video I'm going to review, give you first impressions and a wear test of this new primer from Catrice. This is the HD Active Performance Primer. It does have SPF 30 in it, although you do use quite small amount, it also don't rely only on this SPF. The claims are that it is waterproof and sweatproof and it has pore minimizing effects. So this is quite an interesting one for combination skin, and when we are going towards the summer, things like this really come handy. They market this to people with active lifestyle. I wouldn't say I'm so active, but of the summer, maybe sometimes it might be in good product. I will show you my first impressions when I applied it with one foundation, and I did do a check-up after 8 hours use. So I will show it you now, and after that I will tell you my experiences with 2 other foundations which I've been using with this primer. So let's get into it. I have already washed and moisturized my cat hair. My face, so I'm ready to test this. It says shake before use. Shake well. Remember to shake well. So that's what we're going to do. I think this is enough. I have only tested this as like a slight swatch in store, so I haven't tested this otherwise. So there is a dropper in this one, and the liquid is quite thick feeling actually. I think I took now 3 drops. We'll see if that's enough. I always apply my primers with my hands. I like how that way I kind of get the feeling of how it reacts to my skin, and I can, if needed, press it to my skin properly. I was outside 2 days ago whole day. I did have my SPF on, but the result is that my hyperpigmentation just freaked. So there is more visible lines here, and I have this spot in here, and then there is these and these and things here. At some point probably I'm going to have so much hyperpigmentation that I have just smooth, more tanned skin. It feels a bit tacky. There is just a little bit of tackiness, not a grip, I wouldn't say. Let's see how it looks close up. There is no major pore filling qualities, so it's definitely not that kind of silicone pore filling primer, even though there is silicone in this primer. It feels like the type of product that just makes your foundation last longer, but we'll see how it goes. Today I'm testing this for the first time, so I'm going to use a foundation that I know for sure how it works with my other primers and without primer, and that is the Clarins Skin Illusion. I have the shade 103, that's my winter shade. It might be that now that I'm getting a little bit of tan, well, my little bit of tan is kind of this. So I always use SPF 50. That's my minimum amount of SPF, and I'm just so freakish with my SPF. As usual, I applied my foundation to my plate, and I use my Smashbox brush because I know that for me this foundation works best with this brush. Foundation does go on my forehead quite similarly as it does with other primers. I think that because of that grip and because of that luminosity in the foundation, it is just a tad more dry looking on that area where I applied the foundation. And I do have the problem with my nose that sometimes foundation just don't stick to my nose. That I wouldn't say is because of this concealer. I think it's more because of my skin, because it's something that it just tends to do. We'll see. I will usually I can fix the problem using my sponge with my foundation on my nose. And yes, there is no problems with my foundation when I apply it with my sponge to my nose. So everything is going well, and I can see now that there is a little bit of that pore filling qualities. Still not anything like that thick kind of like from Clarins base, what's that, base complante, something like that, or Tarte smoothness primer. But it is a little bit more. I have very large pores on my nose, and if I get this kind of minimization to my nose, I will be quite happy. So so far everything goes on to my skin as it has always done. We'll see on my checkups how it does with my makeup. I've had this makeup on now for what it is. It's now 8 in the evening, and I applied the makeup at 11 o'clock, so it's been 9 hours. I don't know. It feels like my nose is actually more oily than usually with this foundation. So I wouldn't say that it is at least so much oil controlling. But I realized that I did use a different powder than I usually use with this foundation, so it might be that also. But at least it hasn't caused any excessive problems, so I didn't blot my foundation or my face at all today. And as you can see, my foundation has rubbed off a little bit, but that is also because I did cuddle with my cat a little bit, and then there was hair everywhere. I just had to remove that, so that causes it. But overall my foundation still looks good, as it always does with this foundation, and I can see that this primer has helped my foundation to last a bit longer in how would I say, it looks more even. It hasn't rubbed off the way that's if I don't use any powder, how it would do. But I will test this tomorrow with another foundation and more mattifying powder to see that how it goes. There was a mixed experiences with this primer, and interesting fact is that when I tested it the next day with this foundation, which is the Rimmel Lasting Radiance foundation, I did have better experiences. I did still get that dryness next to my nose, but I didn't notice extra oiliness on my nose. I did use my Laura Mercier powder that day, which is something I usually use on my nose as it gets oily, so that did fix the problem with oiliness. But there was still left that getting dry part. But as I mentioned in the beginning, when we go towards summer and warmer weathers, I don't think that dry thing is going to get be as any problem. I think it's going to be a positive thing. So no problems with this one, and everything. The thing that I noticed is that my foundation, okay, there is this thing coming again. My foundation did, my microphone, my foundation did last longer, and especially what I noticed is that my foundation did wear more beautifully on my skin, so it didn't wear off so patchy and it didn't rub off so easily. So that was... Niin, sä olet taas tiellä. Joo. So that was definitely a positive side with this primer. Today I wanted to test with this stick foundation, and I have positive reviews to give with this kind of creamy foundation. I usually wear stick foundations with very slippery silicone primers. That's the way I can make them wear on my skin, which has quite large pores and a little bit of fine lines already. As this is not that kind of silicone primer, there is silicone in it, but it's not that kind of slippery. It's more like creamy moisturizing primer in texture. I was curious to see how it reacts, and I'm very happy to see that my stick foundation wears really beautifully on this, and it has been on now for 2 hours almost, and things are looking great. This foundation hasn't sinked into my pores or anything that would happen with moisturizing primers otherwise, so it does wear really, really beautifully. I will leave my comments to the box below of how it wore with this, because I haven't been wearing this full day, so I will leave those comments below, so if you're interested to see that. But overall, I'm really interested still to continue testing this primer, as there is definitely some positive effects it gives. One thing I have to mention, I did apply this today, and accidentally I applied it a bit on my under eye area as well, and it did cause some problems. This one leaves film on your skin, and when I applied my creamy concealer, this one from Catrice, on my under eye area, I noticed that this kind of glue-like layer started to rub off, and when I took it off, it did that bouncy thing if you have glue on your skin. It's a good thing and a bad thing. There is definitely a layer. There is definitely that kind of glue thing which gives you that stick to your foundation, and I think that's the reason why my foundation wears beautifully on. But if that's something you don't want to your skin, then you won't like this primer. Always I'm saying concealer, even though I know it's a primer. I know now how this works, so I know to test in different situations, and I will for sure test this in warm weather, and if I know that I need to be presentable close up, even though I need to do carrier lift, heavy weight something, or be outside in a hot weather or something like that. There is positive sides definitely, now that I know how it reacts with my foundations and powders. So here are my thoughts. If you have any requests, if you have tested it, please leave your comments below how you liked it and how it reacted with your skin and your foundation and powders and everything. And again, if you have any requests for the videos, reviews, products to review or anything, please leave me a comment below. I will happily test the products you want me to. And so that's it. I hope you have a nice day now and see you next time. Bye bye.